There's a joke people love to tell. A billionaire wouldn't bother picking up a $100 bill off the ground because in the time it takes to bend down, they've already made more money just standing still. It's funny, but it hides a serious truth. Billionaires don't earn money the way you think. When headlines scream that a CEO made $50 million this year, people imagine fat paychecks, wire transfers, piles of cash. But that's not how it works. Not even close. What they're really earning is equity. And here's the catch: they don't sell it. Because the moment they sell, they pay taxes. But if they don't sell, they grow richer and avoid the IRS entirely. It's a financial strategy so powerful, it lets the ultra-wealthy access cash without ever having to sell, pay tax, or even technically earn anything. It's called buy, borrow, die, and if you've never heard of it, that's by design. Most people believe wealth is about income. You work, you get paid. You work more, you get paid more. Maybe you chase raises, bonuses, side hustles. That's the story we're sold. But the rich? They don't chase income. In fact, they actively avoid it because income is taxed hard. In the US, top earners can lose up to 37% of their salary to federal taxes alone. Add state taxes, payroll deductions, and you could be giving away half your paycheck before it even hits your account. So what do the ultra-wealthy do? They get creative. Elon Musk famously took a $0 salary from Tesla. Warren Buffett still takes just $100,000 a year. Zuckerberg? $1. Jeff Bezos? Around $80,000. These aren't flukes. They're strategies. Instead of a paycheck, they get compensated in stock. Shares in their own companies. Assets that rise in value. Assets they don't sell. Why? Because of something called the realization principle. You don't owe capital gains taxes until you actually sell the asset. Until then, that stock could triple in value and you wouldn't owe the IRS a dime. Let's say your stock portfolio grows from $1 million to $5 million. On paper, you're richer. But unless you sell, you owe nothing. That's called an unrealized gain. And here's the game. The rich don't sell. They let those gains stack. Quietly. Untaxed. Meanwhile, middle-class families scrape by. And when they do manage to invest, say, in a house, they're often forced to sell just to unlock some liquidity. And guess what? The taxman shows up the moment they do. But the wealthy? They take it one step further. They borrow against their assets. Imagine you own $100 million in stocks or real estate. You go to a private bank, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. Take your pick and say, "I'd like a line of credit." The bank looks at your assets and says, "Sure." They hand you $50 million or more secured by your holdings. No income required. No asset sales. No tax. This is how the rich turn unrealized wealth into real cash without ever triggering a tax event. They use the borrowed money to fund their lives, buy homes, yachts, art, or launch new ventures. And the interest? Laughably low, often 2 to 3%, because the bank's risk is nearly zero. If the borrower defaults, the bank takes the collateral. But that almost never happens. Even better? In some cases, the interest on these loans can be deducted from taxes, depending on how the funds are used. So even when they do pay interest, they get a portion of it back. The system assumes if you're rich, you are low risk. And banks roll out the red carpet for low risk. Now compare this to the average person. You take out a mortgage, a car loan, student debt, each one with high interest rates, monthly principal payments, and zero flexibility. And to pay those debts, you use your taxed salary. Let's do the math. Say your mortgage payment is $20,000 a year. Depending on your tax bracket, you might need to earn $30,000 or more just to afford it. That's a 50% efficiency hit. Meanwhile, a billionaire borrows millions and pays back less than 3% annually, with no taxes involved and no fixed timeline. And here's where things get really crazy. They use these loans to buy more assets. Let's say they borrow $10 million, invest it in a fund, and that fund returns 12% a year. That's $1.2 million in gains annually, while only paying $300,000 in interest. They pocket the difference. All tax efficient. All without selling a thing. It's financial alchemy. But even alchemy has to end. Eventually, everyone dies. And when regular people die, they pay estate taxes. Their heirs pay capital gains if they sell inherited assets. The wealth transfer is messy, expensive, and filled with government hands in the pot. But not for the ultra-wealthy. Enter the final phase. Die. Here's the loophole. Under current U.S. law, when someone dies, the cost basis of their assets is stepped up to the current market value. Let's break that down. Say Grandpa bought $1 million in Apple stock back in the 90s. Today, it's worth $10 million. If Grandpa sells while alive, he owes capital gains tax on the $9 million profit. But if Grandpa dies first, the cost basis resets. The heirs inherit the stock as if it was purchased for $10 million. If they sell it the next day, they owe zero in capital gains tax. That $9 million profit, never taxed. Completely wiped away by death. It's called the step-up in basis, and it's one of the most powerful wealth tools in the world. Now let's address the final piece, the loans. If the billionaire borrowed tens of millions over the years, who pays it back? Usually, no one. Because many of them carry life insurance, often inside an irrevocable trust designed specifically to pay off those debts upon death. So the estate gets cleared. The heirs get the assets, fully owned. No debt, no tax, clean transfer. This isn't theory. It's exactly what happens with family offices, ultra-high net worth individuals, and legacy wealth. It's why some families have kept fortunes intact for over a century. Buy appreciating assets. Borrow against them tax-free. Die and pass it all on without ever triggering a major tax bill. Buy, borrow, die. That's the playbook. So, what does this mean for you? It means the game isn't rigged. It's just that most people were never given the rules. You were taught to work harder, earn more, and save. They were taught to own assets, leverage value, and compound. You were told to avoid debt. They were taught to use it strategically. You were told income is king. They know income is taxed, but equity is power. And until you understand the difference, you'll always be playing the wrong game. Now here's the good news. Anyone can start playing the right game. You don't need to be a billionaire, but you do need to shift your mindset. Start acquiring asset stock, real estate, businesses. Learn how to protect them. Learn how to borrow against them. Understand tax law. Understand leverage. Because if you don't, you're not in the system. You're a tool of the system. It's time to flip the script. If you found this breakdown valuable, if it opened your eyes or made you think differently about wealth, then this is just the beginning. Like the video so more people can see it. Subscribe for deeper dives like this. And drop a comment. We read every one. You deserve to know how the world really works. Now that you do, what are you going to do with it? Buy, borrow, die. It's not just a loophole. It's the strategy of the elite. And now it's yours too.